Welcome to the Explainer. Have you ever looked up and wondered if the cosmos is just straight up playing tricks on us? Like, could a giant, massive structure in deep space be nothing more than a cosmic optical illusion? Well, today we're diving into exactly that. We're going to explore a breathtaking object that has literally tricked astronomers for decades. We'll use the latest research to peel back the layers of Caldwell 11 and uncover this chaotic, high-speed reality that's been hiding right in plain sight. All right, let's get into it.
And this brilliantly illustrates what we're talking about today. This is Caldwell 11, though you probably know it as the famous Bubble Nebula. Sitting out there roughly 8,000 light-years away from us in the Cassiopeia constellation, it looks like this perfect, delicate little sphere floating serenely through the void. In visible light, it's super easy to see why we call it a bubble, right? It spans several light-years across. But here's the kicker. Its calm, completely symmetrical appearance is hiding a much more turbulent reality. Before we unravel the big mystery, let's just make sure we're on the same page about what we're actually looking at here. Caldwell 11 is what we call an emission nebulous shell. So, what does that mean? Basically, the intense radiation and powerful stellar winds from a massive central star literally strip electrons away from the surrounding gas atoms. And when they recombine, that ionized gas actively emits its very own light. It's not just passively reflecting starlight, it's glowing, which creates that stunning, vibrant signature we can see all the way from Earth.
Now, the actual engine powering this entire massive structure is visible right here in this high-resolution grayscale view of the dense ionized material. This is SAO20575, also cataloged as BD plus 602052 if you prefer, and it is an incredibly hot, massive O-type star. It acts as the central powerhouse responsible for carving out the bubble and lighting up the gas around it. But take a really close look. Do you notice how its position is way off center? It's not in the middle at all. And that is our very first major clue that the traditional story we've been told is completely flawed.
Section 1. The Wind-Blown Theory, a classic explanation.
So for the longest time, the scientific community had this really elegant, straightforward explanation. Caldwell 11 was just a classic wind-blown bubble. And the logic makes total sense. A massive star like SAO 2575 shoots out these fierce stellar winds, blasting material outward at an astonishing 2,000 kilometers per second. That wind pushes hard against the surrounding interstellar medium, and theoretically, it inflates this hot, expanding, spherical bubble of gas. For decades, everyone thought that perfectly explained the nebula's beautiful shape. Case closed, right?
Section 2. The Missing X-ray Mystery, Unexpected Roadblock.
But science is all about testing our assumptions against new data, and when astronomers finally pointed some seriously advanced telescopes at Caldwell 11, that wind-blown theory hit a massive brick wall. When you compare the gorgeous, vibrant optical view of the nebula to the data from the XMM Newton X-ray telescope, there is a glaring, huge absence. Our central star glows super bright in X-rays, sure, but inside the bubble itself, absolutely zero diffuse X-ray emission. It's totally dark.
Which brings us to the 10 million degree question. If the star's winds are blowing a giant bubble, where on Earth is the superheated X-ray gas? According to traditional theoretical models, the inside of a wind-blown bubble should be absolutely packed with 10 million degree gas. At that temperature, it should be screaming and X-rays. Yet, the data clearly shows the electron density inside the bubble is near zero. The hot gas is just missing. And this completely shatters that old balloon theory, because a bubble without hot gas inside pushing outward simply shouldn't be able to maintain its structure.
Section 3. A Cosmic Runaway Star, Massive Breakthrough.
To actually solve this whole puzzle of the missing X-rays and that off-center star, astronomers had to stop staring at the gas and track the star itself. Thanks to some incredibly precise proper motion data from the Gaia mission, we found out that SAO 20575 isn't just sitting still, it's a runaway. It is rocketing through the interstellar medium at a staggering 28 kilometers per second. Finding out it's a runaway star completely alters the physical dynamic of this entire region.
You can see the consequence of that extreme velocity in this Spitzer infrared image. Because the star is traveling so incredibly fast, the nebula is definitely not a stationary expanding balloon. It is actively forming a bow shock. Think of it exactly like a boat plowing through water. The star is continuously driving forward into a dense wall of interstellar gas, carving out a distinct wake right behind it rather than inflating a sphere.
Section 4. The Great Optical Illusion, Trick of Perspective.
Okay, so here's the big twist. If it's actually a bow shock,
Why does it look like such a perfect sphere? Well, advanced 2D hydrodynamic models broke down the illusion for us. As the runaway star's fierce wind collides with the dense gas around it at high speed, a classic bow shock forms. But because of our exact 60-degree viewing angle from Earth, the shape of the bow shock literally overlaps itself from our perspective. It totally tricks our cameras into seeing a completely closed 3D sphere. It's a massive optical illusion. And we don't just have to take the computer model's word for it. Actual kinematic data from spectrographs backs this up completely. Mapping out the actual velocity and structure of the gas proves that Caldwell 11 isn't a single perfect bubble at all. It's a chaotic series of nested shells and disrupted blisters. The structure is incredibly complex, shaped by a runaway star plowing into a dense, uneven medium, resulting in layers of shocked gas that just happen to align perfectly from our exact vantage point.
Let's just summarize this profound contrast we've uncovered. What we actually see from Earth is a perfect, stationary, closed bubble, a serene portrait of a windblown sphere just floating in the void. But the reality? The reality is a nested bow shock violently carved out by a runaway star blasting through space at 28 kilometers per second. It's a chaotic, high-speed reality of celestial mechanics that our own viewing angle completely hid from us.
This brings us to a quote from the researchers that I think really hits the nail on the head regarding this discovery. They said, "The Bubble Nebula does not appear to be unique. It could be just a favorably oriented, very dense bow shock." Why this matters to you is that perspective changes absolutely everything. Even our most trusted, visually intuitive scientific assumptions have to bow to new data and a different point of view. It's a great reminder that the universe is three-dimensional and we are stuck viewing it from a single, fixed spot.
Which leaves us with a totally fascinating and somewhat provocative thought. If one of the most famous, seemingly perfect bubbles in the entire night sky is actually a high-speed bow shock in disguise, just a trick of our viewing angle, what other cosmic phenomena out there are just a trick of perspective waiting to be unraveled? Keep looking up, stay curious, and always keep questioning what you see. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer.